Good morning, Dom. And joining me this morning is Jim Fitterling. He's the CEO of Dow Chemical. Welcome. Nice to have you.
Nice to be here.
And we are actually participating on a panel together here at the World Economic Forum about plastics, which is sort of interesting because you are getting out front on this issue. For a company that makes plastics, some might be scratching their heads as to why you are tackling plastic waste. Tell us what you're here to do.
So last week in London, we launched the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. This is a cross-industry value chain alliance. This is the first time, this is the biggest alliance that's ever been put together to tackle this issue. And as you know, over the past year or so, the image of plastic waste in the environment, especially in the ocean, has captured the imagination of the world. And everybody agrees that it's a problem, including everybody in our industry. But we've gathered brand owners, retailers, waste management companies, all the resin producers in the plastics industry together, and we've committed $1.5 billion to this initiative. And obviously that's capital that needs to go into solutions to end of life. And really what we're doing is creating the circular economy for plastics. How do we take this waste and convert it into higher value products and keep it from going to the environment?
More recycled products and less
more recycled, right? How do we create recycling out of it? How do we create a social value chain? So one of the things the Alliance has to do is has to convince people there's value in the plastics. A lot of the reason it gets thrown out is people see no value in it at end of life, which isn't true. And we all know that it can be recycled. We've seen great examples in PET bottles, for example.
That's what Coke and Pepsi use.
Coke and Pepsi have done a fantastic amount of work on taking PET and recycling it back into bottles, but you can recycle it back into other product lines as well. You can recycle it into fabrics, you can recycle it into a number of other materials.
But plastics is such an important and profitable business for you. Do you see growth in this industry at a time where municipalities are banning plastic straws and there's a war on plastic bags and countries in Europe are looking at banning plastic plates?
Well, plastics are the largest and one of the fastest growing segments in the industry, and mainly because they are so sustainable. I mean, the reason we got here with plastics for packaging or for medical applications or for automotive applications for that matter is because you're able to make products that are strong, they're light, they give you better efficiency, they're cheaper to produce, and so you've reduced the CO2 footprint. There are a lot of efforts on bans, and there are a lot of efforts to say, let's go back to glass and go back to metal. But in reality, the environmental footprint of that is 4 to 5 times as high as plastics. What we really need to do is create the circular economy for the plastics and create the value and put the infrastructure in place to stop the waste. Most of the waste that gets to the ocean, and that's where people have focused, comes from about 10 rivers in Southeast Asia, India, China. And mostly it's there because the development has been so fast, the infrastructure hasn't kept up. And so we believe we can tackle this, and we've got very good reception and very positive uptake.
You've also got big changes going on at Dow, preparing for this spin, 3 companies, 6 divisions, aiming for June. I mean, do investors get it? Your stock price was down more than 25% last year.
Well, the new Dow will spin out on April 1st, and it's the material science division of Dow DuPont. The new ag company, Corteva, will spin out on June the 1st, and then DuPont will be the specialties division. The new Dow, the material science company, which I will run, will be about a $50 billion company, 6 businesses, focused on 3 market verticals: solutions for the packaging industry, infrastructure, and consumer products. And those are high-growth businesses for us. I think our shares have been down, obviously, with the general market and with what we saw happen with oil pricing. So that oil pricing has an impact on our end product prices, and that changes the psyche a little bit in the marketplace.
Looking out into 2019, I mean, you're always a good economic barometer. We just got the weakest Chinese growth number for the year 2018 since the 90s, and the global economy was just downgraded by the IMF. Is this how you see it? Are you less pessimistic going into 2019?
2018 was a strong year, so strong demand growth around the world. I think we saw as the year ended, obviously, some change in sentiment, and people are attributing a lot of that to trade discussions. But I think around the edges, there are also some concern about demand. Demand is good for products. I think 2019 will be a good year. The shape of the year may be a little bit different than 2018. 18 was a very strong start. And 2019 may be a mirror image of 2018, where we ramp into the year. But China is still a rapidly growing economy, and it's growing, I think the estimates are going to be around 6% on a pretty large base, second largest economy in the world.
So is that how you would characterize the mood here? Slowdown, but not recession, not doom and gloom. Is that what you're getting from your fellow executives and leaders?
Not doom and gloom. In our industry, obviously 70% of what we make goes into consumer products, and the consumer is still strong. Business results are still strong. And I think what most people are concerned about are the political moves actually and the policy changes actually going to have a dampening effect. But I think most of that is within the control of the governments, and they're working through those issues. They work through that on the trade side, then I think we have possibly even some pent-up demand.
Jim Fitterling, good to talk to you.
Thank you.
Good to check in with you. The CEO of Dow Chemical, Dom, send it back to you in the studio.
Great interview. Thank you very much, Sarah, from Davos, Switzerland. We'll have much more